y'all, and welcome back to Surviving Me. I'm your host, Day, and this is the podcast about healing, self-reflections, and we also step into doing special awareness and series episodes, and this is one of those. Today's episode is about sex education, and it's not in a shock value type of way or a graphic type of way, but in an honest, grown, and grounded way, because we are all grown here, right? Yes. So this is about the education many of us didn't get, and how that lack of information quietly shapes our whole sexual experiences. Yes, it's that deep, because most of us were taught how to not get pregnant, but not how to understand our bodies. We were warned about consequences, but not taught about consent, comfort, communication, or even care. And for a lot of people, that gap followed us into adulthood. So if we jump right into segment 1, which is what was missing. Sex education was often rushed, awkward, or shame-based, which I always hated. And I hated the fact that whenever you talk about sex out in public or not in the bedroom, is looked at as taboo, like people are not doing it. Like, come on, y'all. It's focused on rules instead of understanding, fear instead of awareness, and silence instead of questions. So many adults are navigating intimacy with confusion, pressure, or guilt, and not because they failed, but because they were never taught. Just like it's so many adults out here that never had an orgasm. People are literally 50 and up and never experienced an orgasm but been having sex. What's the point of having sex if you are not being fulfilled? Not knowing doesn't mean you're irresponsible. It just means information was withheld from you. But the beauty of the time we live in now, baby, we live in information station. Your phone is literally a walking computer. You can look up anything that you may have questions about, because no questions is dumb. So if we jump into segment 2, which is STD and STI, education without shame. STD stand for sexually transmitted disease. STI stand for sexually transmitted infections. For those who did not know, another major gap in sex education was how little we were taught actually about STDs and STIs beyond fear-based warnings. Because anytime STDs and STIs are talked about, it's talked about in a fear-based, like, oh, you better not get that, you don't want to do that, you better wrap it up. Like, every time when you talk about that, that's what people are talking about. It's never about, like, let's sit down and like really talk about the education behind STDs and STIs, not just let me put some fear into you so you'll never do it, so that way you'll never have to worry about getting it because you're not doing it anyway. But for real, that is not realistic, because some people want to have sex, and it's okay to want to have sex, because sex is not a bad thing. It could get bad depending on how you go about it, but overall, sex is natural. Hey, we're meant to be having sex. We're meant to be reproducing. So it's literally a part of life. These are all the things that we were not taught. We wasn't taught the differences between STDs and STIs, how common they actually are, that many of them don't come with symptoms, and that testing is a normal part of sexual health. Instead, the messages was often like, be careful, or something bad's gonna happen, or you don't want to do that, or don't do that, so you won't get that. But education should have told us this instead. STIs are medical conditions, not moral failures. Getting tested doesn't mean you were reckless. It just means you're informed now. Okay? Like, it just means you're literally informed on what's going on inside your body that you would not be able to see if you were just looking at it. And having an STI doesn't define your worth, your cleanliness, or your character. And I hate that when we talk about getting STIs and STDs, people look at it as something like, oh my God, you're dirty. Oh my God, you're this. When really it's just like, why I gotta be dirty? I'm having sex just like all the rest of y'all having sex. And I just happen to have sex with the wrong motherfucker. And now I got something. But how does that make me dirty? I'm thinking we was in this, we just doing it. And it just happened, and then now I got this, and then now I'm looked at as dirty. But no, because for real, what really should be happening before you have sex with any new partner is y'all should have that conversation about going to go get tested first. Like, hey, I know eventually if we plan on taking this relationship anywhere further, we're going to eventually want to be having sex. So because you are not a virgin and I'm not a virgin, and I know that you dealt with people before me, we should go get tested before we decide to get into bed together. That is literally how all sexual experiences start off. Now, realistically, is everybody doing that? No. Which is why there are STDs and STIs, because everybody is not doing it the way I said. But proper sex education was given to people, and people were taught this, I feel like everybody will go into every sexual experience with, like how I said, like, okay, we need to go get tested if we plan on being raw. A lot of people don't like using condoms, because feeling shit feel way better than having a rubber on. We all know that. But from the initial first experience until y'all go get tested, a condom should be had, because it does protect you from getting an STD and STI. It's not 100% effective, because everybody knows nothing is ever 100% effective. But 99.9% effective is better than 0. Because without a glove is 0, with a glove is 99. So at least chances are better, okay? So the very first initial part of y'all deciding to get into bed together, y'all should be wearing a condom, because it protects you from anything that this person may have. Because like I said, a lot of times symptoms are not shown. A person could have something and genuinely not know they have something, because nothing was telling them. They didn't get any symptoms. They're not feeling any different. Everything is good down here. But internally, they did. But if you use a condom, you won't have to worry about that until y'all go get tested together, and then they can find out together, like, well, damn, I didn't even know. I'm glad we did go get tested, because shit, I was about to give you some shit. Jumping into segment 3, which is testing is self-care. Sex education should have normalized getting tested, not framed it as something to fear or something to avoid. Routine testing is responsibility. It's proactive. It's respectful to yourself and to your partner. You're allowed to ask when someone was last tested. That should be a question that should be asked often. It should not be a question that's looked at like, well, I don't really want to ask because I don't have this person be offended. But why should you be offended about me asking you when you was last tested and you trying to come up in me? Really think about it. So you're allowed to ask when someone was last tested, what protection looks like to them, what feels safe to your body. All these are questions you are allowed to ask somebody and not feel no type of way with asking them that. These conversations are not awkward. They're adult. It's grown. If you're saying you're grown, really step into that grown woman, grown men business, because this is grown woman business over here, okay? Silence creates risk. Information creates choice. Never forget that. Jumping into segment 4, which is consent is ongoing. One of the most important things missing from sex education is that consent is a one-time agreement, and that is not true. It's ongoing, it's adjustable, and it includes you. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to pause. You're allowed to stop even after starting. Discomfort is information, and your body doesn't need to be pushed through anything to feel like, oh, this is what's supposed to be happening. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. If it feels wrong, stop. Because you're allowed to do that. It's your body, your choice. And the person you're dealing with should respect you in that way to understand that, you know what, I thought I was ready, but I'm not, and let's just hold off. I'm not saying that it's never going to happen, but today is just not the day. And they should respect that if they really, love you. And jump into segment 5, which is pleasure versus pressure. A lot of people confuse pressure with desire. Feeling obligated by somebody isn't the same as feeling connected. Doing something to keep someone else comfortable isn't intimacy. Sex education should have taught us how to listen to our bodies, not override them. Your body isn't something to perform with, it's something to be in a relationship with. Love yourself, touch yourself, masturbate. Like, all of these are things you should be doing before you decide to get into a relationship sexually with somebody else. Because how could you ever fully tell somebody what you need sexually and what gets you going and what have you singing to them kahiris if you never even took the time to explore that yourself? How would you know? Because masturbation, that's the whole point of masturbation. It's learning your body yourself, learning what gets you going, learning your tics, learning your, hold on, that felt good. Oh, hold on, my body did that. And then so you could go into your partner and tell them like, yeah, I like when this happened. I like when you do this. I like when this is touched. I like when this is touched. And then it creates an all around beautiful, full circle, intense sexual experience. And every sexual experience should feel like that if you're choosing to have sex. Yes, think that. I stand by that. I don't care. Jumping into segment 6, which is asking questions without shame. You're allowed to ask questions before intimacy, during it, and after. You're allowed to ask, can we slow down? Can we talk about this first? And then you're allowed to check in with yourself also and ask, do I need more time? Am I comfortable right now? Asking these questions doesn't complicate intimacy, it clarifies it. Education gives you options, shame takes them away. I want to leave you with this question. What is one thing about sex or sexual health or your body you were never taught but desired to know? And really think about it. And then once you think about it, go search it online and figure it out. Like I said, the era we live in today is our phones are literally walking computers. And anything we felt like we should have been taught or anything we felt like we did not get from adults when we was children, we can now look it up ourselves and get the knowledge that we need ourselves. That is the beauty of the era we live in, and I love it, and you should too. No judgment in that answer. Once you do ask yourself that, is only awareness. And if this episode resonated with you, you can stay connected through the Glow Letter on Substacks, where I share reflection, journal prompts that extend this space gently and intentionally, and you don't want to miss it. So be sure to subscribe. And if you're looking for a bestie style book club, the kind where we actually chit chat about what's going on in the book and talk about it through the moments that made us pause, you're welcome to join the After Hours book club, because it is open. Come join the club. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave a rating or review, because it helps Surviving Me reach people who needs education without shame as well. All the links will be in the show notes. Be sure to spread the love, because we do not gatekeep over here, right? Right. And like I always say, no matter what page of healing you're on, you're not alone and you're not behind. Keep going through it, keep growing through it, and keep glowing through it, because the journey back to yourself will always be the hardest work, but we in this together. Because why? Healing is not meant to be done alone. And I will see you next episode.
I've battled the silence, I've wrestled the shame, faced all my demons and called them by name. This ain't for sure, it's deep.